Welcome back. Now that we have the basics set up here, let's go ahead and start building our pivot table. Now to build our pivot table, it's a matter of taking a particular field and dragging them to one of these actual boxes here. So I like to start with the values box first. And so what's the big ticket item here that we're focused on? Well, it's the gross pay. So I'll go ahead and drag the gross pay right into this box, or I can simply check it off. So either one will allow me to do that. I'll do both. I'll go ahead and drag the gross pay to the values box. And as you can see, let me zoom in just a little bit here. We can see we already have our answer. So the sum of gross pay is 84,306, right? And some decimals there as well. So it automatically runs the calculation for us. It's already summarized that column. To get rid of that, I can either uncheck it or drag it back. This time I'll drag it away. And our pivot table is back to normal. So I'll go ahead and click on the checkbox here. And because it's a numeric value, it automatically places it into the values box as well. So that gives us our answer. Well, we do want to play around with the gross pay here, but let's take a look at something else. What if I click on the employee number? Well, let's see what the pivot table gives us here. So it shows all of the employee numbers and the rows. Doesn't really help me. I'm going to go ahead and drag that to the values. And what it does is it inserts the count function for us. Because this is a alphanumeric character, it's giving us the count of employee numbers. Well, why would we want to do that? Well, remember, the employee numbers are unique. So we have 94 unique employee numbers. Because it's using the count function here, what I can do now is figure out how many employees I have by division. So if I click on division here, look at what it does. So it places the division into the rows for me. And now I get some nice information. So I have 15 employees in California, 27 in Georgia, 30 in New Jersey, and 22 in Washington. Right. What about by department? If I click on department here, it also places the department in the rows. Well, I'll put the department in the columns instead. So look at how many questions we can answer just by having the employee number in the values, department in the columns, and division in the rows. I can answer a very specific question, such as how many employees do we have on our staff team in California? 3, right here. So we can isolate the data. As you can see, the pivot table is taking care of all that for us. We don't need to enter any formulas or any logical functions like that as well. So I'll go ahead and reset the table. I'll go ahead and clear this out here. Right. I'll go ahead and put the gross pay back in here again. Right. So by default, it gives me the sum of the gross pay. But let's take a look and see how many other ways we can express the gross pay. I'll click on the drop down here. And here I have what's called value field settings. I'll click on here. Here's my value field settings dialog. And now what I can do is I can change it. I can summarize the value by count and also by average. Well, let's try the count and let's see what happens. So don't summarize it, just count it for me. I'll press OK. And look at that, we also get 94 because we have 94 records to work with. So this is another way to kind of give us the number of employees by division, right? So we can always change that value the way that it's being expressed. Let's try one more. I'll go ahead and grab the average here, right? And so the average gross pay is $896.87. What about average gross pay by division? Well, the average gross pay in California, $853. Average gross pay in Georgia, $936. So those are just some of the basics of how we can build a table and how we can change the way that the value is being displayed for us as well. Go ahead and play around with the different values here. Click on the value field settings. Go ahead and use these different summaries here and familiarize yourself with them and come right back.